If you're looking to secure a HELOC to get a deal done, buy a business, or just get out of debt, here's a full-blown breakdown on how long does a HELOC actually take to close. Search this question, you'll get answers ranging from 5 days to 6 weeks, and somehow all of them are technically true. The real answer depends on a handful of specific factors, and once you know what they are, you can predict your own timeline instead of just hoping. So let's get fair up it. 2 to 6 weeks. Here's why the spread's so wide. Across the industry, most HELOCs close somewhere in 2 to 6 week range, and that's a massive spread. It comes down to a few specific factors, not luck. So 5 to 10 business days is fastest digital lenders, 2 to 6 weeks is industry-wide average, and then your 1 to 2 months is with traditional banks. Factor 1, which lender you choose. The single biggest lever is which type of lender you pick. The difference between a digital lender and a traditional bank can mean weeks off your timeline. Traditional banks, manual underwriting, in-person steps, typically 30 to 45 days. Credit unions, community-focused middle ground, typically 21 to 30 days. And then you got your online digital lenders, fully digital process, automated valuation, online, typically 5 to 10 business days funded to your account. So factor 2 is the appraisal bottleneck. Full appraisal with your banks can take over a week just to schedule and complete, often the single biggest delay in the entire process. And then we got what's called an AVM waiver. Ask about this first. Many online lenders now skip the full appraisal entirely using an automated valuation model. Instead, think about the Zestimate on Zillow. How are they actually able to get a value for your property so quickly? Asking your lender up front whether you qualify for that waiver can cut 2 to 3 weeks off your total timeline by itself. Factor 3, how prepared are you? This is the one factor entirely in your control. Borrowers who respond same day consistently close faster than borrowers who don't, regardless of which lender they pick. So get documents ready before you apply. Bank statements, tax returns, and basic business information. Have these in hand before you submit your application, and respond the same day to push the process forward. So every single day you take to respond to a lender's document request adds days to your close. Speed here is entirely up to you. So factor 4 is your credit and equity profile. Strong credit and a clean title move through underwriting with far less friction. A weaker credit profile doesn't necessarily mean denial. It usually means more manual review, which takes longer. Strong credit clears underwriting faster. Weaker profiles face more manual review, not automatic denial, but added timeline. Clean title matters just as much as credit. An old lien nobody release can stall your close the same way a low score can. So the process, what actually happens step by step. Here is the actual sequence from application to funding and why your signing date is not your funding date. Application, submit application and docs. Underwriting, verification and property valuation. Conditional approval, receive approval and closing disclosure. Then you're signing your documents and observe the waiting period. Critical detail, the step everyone forgets. Federal law requires a mandatory 3 business days right of rescission after you sign, before any funds become accessible. This applies even to the fastest digital lenders advertising a 5-day close. Build this into your own planning. Your signing date is not your funding date. Even if a lender closes your HELOC in record time, you cannot access funds until that rescission window closes. Plan your deal timeline around your funding date, not your signing date. Fast versus slow, 2 realistic timelines. Fast timeline, conditions, documents ready, strong credit profile, clean title, digital lender with AVM waiver to close in 5 to 10 business days, plus 3-day rescission before funds are actually in usable status. So the slow timeline, on the other hand, would be conditions. Full appraisal required, traditional banks, slower document turnaround. To close, 30 to 45 days. Note, weaker credit or an unresolved title issue can push this even further. Neither timeline's wrong, they're just answering different starting conditions. Strategy, why this matters for your bigger strategy. Here's the important part for anyone thinking about a HELOC, whether it's on a home or an LLC owned investment property. As part of a bigger financial strategy, this whole closing timeline only happens once. So one-time setup costs, the closing timeline is a one-time process. Once the HELOC is open, drawing against it is essentially instant from that point forward. Instant access after opening. So once open, draws on demand, no reapplication, no waiting period, no new underwriting or closing costs, and set it up before you need it. Worth doing before you need it for a specific deal, not scrambling to open one while you're already mid-transaction. And just remember, you're only paying on what you've drawn, so this can sit idle and ready at no cost. So how we help? What Gap Funded does differently. This is exactly what we walk clients through. No surprises 3 weeks in. Match you to the right lender, get documentation ready first, and tell you the truth up front. We'll also look at the liens and where this could potentially get stalled before we apply. So ready to get your HELOC set up. If you want a HELOC set up before your next deal needs it, not during it, book a call. We'll look at your situation and give you a realistic timeline, not a marketing number. Book a call at gapfunded.com/apply. Links in the description below. We'll have a chat about it. Worst case, you walk away with a game plan. And we're talking days, not weeks. The honest answer is it depends. But now you know exactly what it depends on and how to put yourself in the best position to close fast. Lender type. Digital versus traditional makes the biggest difference. Appraisal waiver, ask about AVM upfront, saves up to 2 to 3 weeks. In your preparation, documents ready, fast to close every time, and how quickly you respond with those docs. Credit and title, clean profiles move through underwriting faster. As I said, HELOC timeline at a glance, a summary of the key variables that determine how fast your HELOC closes, from lender type to the rescission period, most borrowers forget. So factors on the left, lender type, digital versus traditional, appraisal, AVM waiver granted versus full appraisal required with a bloke going out to the property, document readiness, ready before applying and responding quickly versus a slow back and forth, credit and title, strong credit, clean title versus a manual review or title issue. Time to closing would be 5 to 10 business days versus 1 to 2 months, and the rescission period is going to be 3 days, mandatory in both cases. So key takeaways, everything you need to remember about HELOC closing timelines in one place. The range is real, 5 days to 6 weeks are both accurate. They reflect different lenders' profiles and preparation levels. 2, your lender choice is the biggest lever. Digital lenders close in days, traditional banks take weeks. Choose based on your timeline needs. Ask about the AVM waiver immediately. Signing is not your funding date. Just remember that 3-day mandatory rescission period and plan your deal around funding date. I'm Mick Wadley. Let's go close something. If you adored this video, smack the subscribe and flog the bell. I'll see you on the next one.